Not doing the intro, am
Hey everybody, I'm Sierra,
I? Not Ben.
and welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of the original gateway drugs in true crime.
Unsolved mysteries.
Love it or hate it, but I'm keeping that intro in.
You can't do that. I told you. I need the count. You just turned... I had no idea you turned it on.
I know.
And I'm still jabbering over here to myself.
Just a little of what it looks like here in the Unsolved Couple podcast studio.
In the room.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're in it. We're recording.
Clearly.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're in season 1, episode 22. There's only a couple episodes left of season 1, and then 11 more seasons to go. See, quick and easy.
Quick and easy.
Yeah.
At this rate, it'll be 6
It'll
years.
be done by tomorrow. I showed Ben a reel today of just life with ADHD people, and like this construction project is falling apart, and the man's like, it's fine, it'll be done by tomorrow. It's just the windows and doors, no big deal. I can't tell you how many times I've told Ben, it's fine, it'll be done.
It'll get done.
Yeah, it'll get taken care of. Don't worry about it. And for the most part, it gets taken care of.
For the most part, that's what you have to say. For the most part, you know what? You know, everyone else reads that as, "Oh no, it doesn't always get done."
For the most part, it does. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that hasn't gotten done.
Well, that's not surprising that you can.
Maybe that's where the real true beauty is in having ADHD, is that you probably do mess up a lot, but you have the attention span of a goldfish, so you just don't remember it. So you live in bliss.
I can't tell people how often I've come home to Sierra starting a project and then saying, "Well, I got tired of it. I didn't want to do it anymore."
Or I get really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it's not fun anymore. And I don't want to be stuck in this situation, so I need you to help me.
Yeah.
Either finish it or justify me not doing it anymore. But look, I wanted to start a podcast, and look how far we've made it, babe.
Yeah. Who had to get all the equipment for it?
Okay, well, in fairness, you ordered the equipment.
But I will say, this is 90% your project. I literally just show up.
Show up looking cute.
No.
Yeah,
That's...
eye candy for the podcast. For the non-visual
I was
platform.
going to say, no one sees what we look like. Thank goodness
Probably
they're not
for the
seeing
better.
me.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, we're back to our normal standard of me doing the introduction, but I hope you guys all enjoyed last week's off the
Let's
cuff.
keep it normal. That's what people are here for.
Oh,
Consistency.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Sarah's got
Happy
an
birthday
announcement.
to Ben. He is turning 40.
Wow. Thanks for that. I appreciate
40. The big 40.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This drop, what day?
That's
is
what I'm
this?
checking right now. I think it drops the 3rd, I believe.
The day after.
Yeah.
No. It's got to
Ben
be
is waking up.
It's got to be the 4th because my birthday's on a Sunday.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Now everyone knows.
Yeah.
They know when my birthday is.
Yeah. Everybody reach out to him. Send him messages.
Please don't.
He loves attention on his birthday.
Please don't.
Casey, if you're at work with him, let
please
everybody
don't.
know.
Please don't. I beg of everyone.
But no, Ben's going to start us off with, we've got 3 stories to cover and some very interesting things to talk about.
What was your take on this episode?
Okay, so in all honesty, this didn't feel as much like one of the more traditional unsolved episodes. I mean, we do have some, but I thought this overall was I had my jaw on the floor a couple of times during this episode.
It was an interesting one.
Yeah.
It wasn't as heavy.
No, and that's probably it wasn't as heavy.
The last one is terrible.
Yeah.
It's a murder, and it is terrible. But it was still the way it was presented.
The way it was
interesting.
presented, and the main talking head in that gives us a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing is, ultimately, at the end of the day, I was talking about this the other day. We do talk about hard things, and there is this sort of belief in the world of true crime that a lot of creators are kind of piggybacking on other people's worst days of their lives. And fair, there's a point for that to be made, but how can we tell these stories and tell them correctly, and also showcasing what we can learn from that, helping get things that are potentially not being talked about anymore talked about. But also, we like to try to have a little humor here on our podcast when we can, to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. True?
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, so this episode I thought was a little bit more lighthearted. There's a couple of twists and turns we're going to go down.
Especially for the 80s.
Especially for the 80s.
Yeah. There's
a mullet present. There's a lot to talk about. But yeah, go ahead and get us started with...
Right. Are you ready to be... Oh, sorry. I got to open up my notes. They're on the wrong page here. Stand by to stand by.
That notebook is almost all filled it up.
No, I've just used the back of it. Don't worry about it.
That doesn't make any sense.
Don't worry about it. It makes sense to me, and I have OCD, so...
That makes the Brian Regan...
Yeah, it's perfect. It makes perfect sense to me.
Brian
and that's
Regan
all that
does
matters.
A great skit about OCD and things making no sense to anybody else.
How he categorizes books and stuff.
Check it out.
Yeah. Are you ready to be introduced to, hands down, the dumbest criminal ever?
Yes. You know what? You don't watch a lot of true crime, but I'm going to tell you the things that this man did with the notes. It's not the first time.
Okay, and let me preface.
That's kind of jumping way ahead, but...
This is a tragedy because there is a murder, but the guy, this criminal, he's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
All right, so...
And we're not advocating for smart criminals either, though.
Yeah. Will you Google what college is in Athens, Georgia?
Oh, yeah. I actually didn't look that up.
I meant to look at that.
I got distracted. I was looking at the location of this.
Yeah, I meant to look which college it was, because we're gonna get introduced to Athens, Georgia in 1977, and what college? What do you got?
Hold on. The very first thing that popped up was accredited online university.
No, I'm not.
And the second thing that pops up is University of Phoenix. So none of those are correct. Athens Technical College. That's what it's...
So I was making sure it wasn't like the University of Georgia, a big university. But
you know what? Someone out there is probably going to tell us that we are wrong, but...
Probably. I don't know where the University of Georgia is. I know it's in Georgia. Made it that far. Anyways. So
there's Athens Technical College, University of Georgia Terry College, Medical College, GA School of Nursing.
All right. Let's just move on.
Okay.
1977. We're going to get told about a restaurant. It's called TK Harty Saloon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in, like I said, Athens, Georgia. The owner was Ted K. Harty, short for TK Harty. And he'd opened a restaurant, a saloon. You know I love the name saloon.
I love a good saloon.
I think that's awesome. But they had taken an old train depot, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And they clearly, instead of building it like a little strip mall, they turned this old abandoned train depot into businesses. And TK had leased one of the businesses and opened this saloon. I do love, they talked to the guy that owned it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're bringing this quote up because I don't know if I've ever heard anybody referred to this way in a long time.
Yeah, he calls TK. So his name is Lee Epiney.
Yeah, I think he was originally like a business partner.
So it says he originally owned
the building,
and that he was leasing it out to multiple businesses. Mm-hmm. And TK was one of the tenants. And he calls him he says when he first meets TK, he goes, he's an obnoxious Yankee. That's what he says. That's the first thing he says.
I know.
But here's the thing. He then says, you get to know the guy, you talk with him. He goes, he's loud, he's energetic. He goes, but he then says, once you get to know him, he's just a big teddy bear. He says he was a great guy. He was a great tenant. He goes, so clearly.
Yeah.
He just used that at first. I thought it was funny because
here they're talking about this man who will find out his life ends shortly. And still, even though he knows what he's talking about, he still tells everyone, yeah, when I first met him, I didn't care for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Yankee
that
came down to Georgia to
exactly.
open a business.
That's funny.
So one of the other businesses in this train depot is another restaurant, and his name is John Mooney, and he opens a pizza shop. Somebody's Pizza. Sorry.
Which, I'll be honest, is a great name for a pizza place.
Yeah. And we get the owner of he says, listen, he's this young, he's college kid. He wants
very enthusiastic.
He goes, but the minute he signed the lease, it was problems. Yeah. I can't pay. I need this. I need that. He was just a problem tenant.
Yeah, young kids these days.
They didn't portray him as young in the reenactment.
I will say, that reminds me, the reenactment actor did not look like a college graduate. He looked like a man in his late 30s, early 40s. But
do you know who he looked like, though?
Who?
He looked just like the guy from, you wouldn't know. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. He looked like the guy that played the Green Goblin in the original Spider-Man movies with
I almost just
Tobey
said Batman.
Maguire. No.
Yeah, I think I saw that movie in theaters.
Well, you and I went and saw that last Spider-Man where they bring it, all the Spider-Man, and I don't know why I'm trying to even explain this to you. Sierra is literally with her eyes rolled in the back of her head, even though we saw the movie together.
I'm zoned out.
Okay. He looked just like him, but it doesn't matter because you don't care.
The point that I was bringing up was that when you watch stuff from the 80s and early 90s, like the parents in the movie, what is that movie? Father of the Bride?
Yeah.
They're like
40.
They're our age.
Yeah,
and
Steve Martin
and his wife in that movie are portrayed to be in their, like they're 39, 40. They look like so much older than that.
Yeah, I know. I think we've said this a few times.
Yeah, thank you, Botox. Yeah. We're grateful for you. Okay. But yeah, so he owns this pizza shop.
Yes, so John Mooney owns a pizza shop. TK owns the saloon.
Yeah.
Clearly
so there's not two pizza shops, right?
No.
Okay.
Maybe the saloon serves pizza, but Robert Stack tells us they're competing for the same business people. And I'm thinking to myself, well, but if you're in the mood for a burger or you're in the mood for pizza, that's going to depend on where you go.
That's what I don't understand about these food wars like this. But when I read a little bit deeper, and I don't know if you found this, it ended up not being about the food. It was that they each served beer there, and you have a college town. And so the turf was more over getting those regulars that would come down for cheap beer.
Cheap beer.
Yeah.
Well, because they do say that. So TK and John hated each other. John hated TK. TK hated.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And I will say, the pizza dude crosses some boundaries. Big time.
Absolutely. So John Mooney, the owner of the building, he's telling us a lot of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it boiled over one day because John came by and was walking around his
outdoor patio
area, passing out flyers for his, and it had nickel beers on it. So come down and get a nickel beer. And TK got irate, kicked him out.
Yeah, you're on my property advertising.
With the customers that have chosen to be there and eat at his establishment. Yeah. So this went on for 3 years, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is...
What happens next is awesome.
Spite is a powerful thing sometimes.
So TK clearly was doing better than John Mooney was.
Mm-hmm.
So the owners of the train depot they didn't explain it, but TK ends up buying the complex.
Yeah.
And he says, the minute I sign this, I am evicting John.
He tells everybody. Yeah.
I'm evicting John. That Friday afternoon, after he signs, the ink is not even dry. The agent
calls and says, we've cleared to close. Everything is funded. Congratulations. Here's the keys.
You now own it. You now own the complex. So
he already had the paperwork filled out for the eviction.
So now TK owns the building that all these businesses are in. Also his own restaurant.
Yeah.
So he takes the eviction notice down to him Friday afternoon.
Hand delivers it.
To John Mooney and his pizza place and says, you're out.
Yeah.
Get out. I ain't renewing your lease.
We're done.
You are done.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And as you can imagine, that upsets John.
Yeah.
He gets pretty upset. 10 days after, okay, if you're upset with someone that have made you very angry, word of advice, wait a little while. 10 days after.
Maybe more than 10 days.
After the eviction notice has been given to John, TK goes home after closing up his shop, comes in, does his thing.
Yeah, and I'm guessing he's closed the saloon at 2 a.m. So it's early morning, middle of the night.
Yes, it's the middle of the night. It's late at night.
Yeah.
Walks into his study. Someone comes up behind him and shoots him once in the head.
Yeah, execution style.
Yeah, dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This might come as a surprise, but the police kind of had an idea of who their number one suspect was.
Very quickly.
Right away.
Yeah. Like within a few hours, he's brought into the police department.
4 hours after.
Yeah.
4 hours after TK has been shot and killed. They bring in John Mooney for questioning. Because, I'm going to guess, it was a pretty well known that these guys didn't like each other.
This was not a secret.
Yeah. John sits down and they say to him, hey, do you know why you're here? And John literally says, well, it's probably about the shooting of TK.
Yeah.
And the police officer, they're interviewing the detective, and he says...
Literally the first thing out of this guy's mouth, he shoots himself in the foot.
You know... Let me go back. The police officer says, we haven't even released this yet.
Nobody
no one knows but us.
Yeah.
That this guy has been shot and killed.
Yeah. Yeah, not that he's not just been murdered, but how he was murdered.
Yeah.
It hasn't hit the newspaper yet. Nothing.
So, you remember back in the 90s, you'd watch this movie, and this was always the big groundbreaker in some movies, where someone would say something that was like, we didn't even, especially, I'm trying to think of the movie, but where you didn't know this person was the bad guy until they said something, and the good guy was like, oh no.
Only the killer would know that, or only.
Exactly. Yeah. You always thought.
Well, still to this day, if the police release things, like in the Delphi, Indiana murder case, they withhold information because they want to be able to hang somebody for saying something that no one should know unless you were an active participant in this activity that ended in a crime.
I just think it's because you see that in the movies and you think, no one does that. No one incriminates himself by just blurting out information that they know they're the only ones that know.
I know. Criminals are idiots.
No, John Mooney did. Right away. Just wanted to let the whole world know.
Not only did everyone know that there was a feud between these guys and that he had just been evicted, but then he also announces to the police that he not only knows that the guy is dead, but the manner of death.
Yeah, that he got shot.
Yeah.
So the police officer says, well, we haven't even released that information. Mm-hmm. And John goes, hey, I want to call my lawyer.
Yeah.
His lawyer proceeds to tell him smartly, hey, listen, if you're not under arrest, get out of there.
Get out of there. Yeah. You need to exit stage right immediately.
And the police officer does say, they don't have enough at this time.
No. It's been 4 hours.
To charge him.
Yeah.
But he says,
we just got what we needed, but now we got to
clearly
put some other
we have a
together.
suspect.
Yeah.
We're pretty certain we know who did it. Now we just have to build the case.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks go by, and they haven't produced enough evidence to get the case. You guys are probably all thinking, what's the mystery? We're going to get there.
We're going to get there.
We're all thinking the same thing as we're watching this episode.
Yeah.
Okay. On the 4th week, there's another restaurant in this train depot. Okay. We don't actually get the name of it or the owner, but a guy comes in. His name is Elmo Florence. Okay. He's an electrician from Atlanta.
Elmo the electrician.
Yeah, Elmo. And you heard that right, just like the guy from Sesame Street.
Yeah, which
Elmo.
I think ends up being problematic anyways down the road.
All right.
But it's the barkeep that that is interviewed, right? It's the barkeep guy? Yeah.
They don't really say exactly. They just say they're talking to the owner of this restaurant or this business that's also in the train depot section, right? He starts dropping hints. Hey, man.
Yeah.
If you want someone killed, I'm the man for it.
I'm a really good
and
hitman.
I can only imagine.
Look at how good I can keep a secret. No one's ever gonna know.
So the guy, I don't know what he says, but he's like, I don't have anyone yet. I don't know. Why would you be good? And he then proceeds to say, well, I killed TK.
Yeah. What's your resume? Actually, I have someone in mind, but I'm going to need some references.
I'm going to need some references.
Yeah. Do you have a letter of recommendation, sir? And the one client that he's I think in a hitman, one, the actual job is important, but 2, keeping your mouth shut afterwards.
You might not want to
brag about that. Yeah.
Why you're good at this. Because I think being good at it means also
being quiet about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he proceeds to tell him the whole story of how...
I would love to know how many drinks that man had before he got to that point.
Me too. He tells the whole story of him killing TK. That he broke the window, he swept the glass, he waited. That John Mooney phoned twice, let it ring 2 times, and then hung up to let him know that, hey... TK's on his way home.
Yeah.
The police officer, so he tells the whole story. Mm-hmm. So the owner then calls the police and says,
he
hey,
immediately
man,
calls this in.
I think I got your guy. And he tells the police officer tells us that Elmo had told them 21 different points of information that hadn't been released.
Yeah.
Of the murder. So they were pretty certain, hey, that's our guy.
Yeah.
So what do? They arrest Elmo. Yep. Elmo gets arrested for the murder of TK. And guess what Elmo says? Hey, John Mooney hired me.
Yeah, we'll later find out he quickly also flips the script on what he agreed to in his... So he's not a good hitman. He didn't keep his mouth shut, and then he didn't fulfill what he said he would if he was to get caught.
Right. So what do you think? John Mooney, they go to arrest him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not there. He flees.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you would think, okay, I'm wanted now for murder. I'm going to flee. Well, he comes back 2 weeks later.
No, he leaves the country.
Yeah, but then comes back in 2 weeks.
I know, but he was actually, how many times criminals have tried to leave the country once they realize that they're being looked at and are unable to do so? This man gets out.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And he decides that's long enough. The heat has died down. In 2 weeks, I'm going back.
I'm going to come back. And I'm not going to move to some obscure place in a different area.
No, he just goes to a different county, to Cobb County in Georgia.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what?
And then he starts
contacting old friends and acquaintances because the police aren't going to look into that. He's living with a friend.
Yeah.
Police officer catch wind that he is back in town, living with a friend. So a Cobb County sheriff goes by, and John Mooney's out there drinking beers with his friend.
In a parking lot. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Yeah. That's the other thing. I don't understand criminals. Like, then they sometimes get pulled over for, like, expired tags or running a red light. Like, the simplest things. This man is drinking in public.
Chucking his beers
into the parking lot. And so a cop has every right at this point to come up and talk to you.
He says that's what he uses as an excuse to talk to him. He said he didn't know exactly who it was. He knew that he was wanted for murder. He finds out, oh, this is the guy we want. He arrests him. He's sent back. So John Mooney, he goes to trial, and he gets convicted of murder.
Yeah.
Along with
life
Elmo.
Sentence.
Yeah, Elmo and John are both convicted of murder and sentenced to life. So where's our mystery, Sierra? Well, let's find out. Okay? Mooney, first he goes to a maximum security prison. Nope. Then they move him to a medium security. And he's a model inmate.
Was it medium? I thought it was a minimum security.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Did I say medium?
Yeah.
Sorry. Minimum.
This man is convicted of murder, hiring a hitman, life sentence. How did he get moved from max to minimum?
I don't know. But there you talk to the warden. He says, yeah, he was an amazing
model inmate.
To the point where he becomes the kitchen clerk. Okay?
Yeah, the reenactment kitchen. Did you see that? It was like they're preparing like steaks.
I know. That's like, man, that's okay.
What do I got to do to get in minimum security prison? This looks nothing like any jail food I've ever seen before. And everyone's like making big pots of food and sampling things and trying it. It looked very enjoyable.
Yeah. So he's now served 19 months of his life sentence. And on March 16th, 1980, he escapes. In the reenactment, the way they show it is that he hid in a garbage can with garbage on top, and people were willing to carry it out to the street, go back in, they close the gates.
Well, because this is minimum security. So like a security guard or a police officer unlocks a gate, lets them walk it down to the garbage can pickup or whatever. They drop it off, walks it back in, locks the gate, and walks away. This is like as much security as you have at a school.
I know. I don't understand it.
Him getting out of that trash can, though, the reenactment. First off, the men carrying the trash can was awesome.
Yeah.
They were struggling.
It was heavier than it should have been.
Yeah. That should have been the indication to the officer. The first thing is that you need 2 men to carry out a trash can. But then the reenactment actor, trying to get out, he falls.
I know. He falls out of the trash can. The trash is everywhere. Well, he had someone standing by in a runaway vehicle. He gone. He escapes.
Yep.
So that's our mystery.
This is the mystery once again. How many people escape prison? More than I thought.
Clearly.
Yeah.
All right. So he escaped, like I said, March 16th, 1980. They aired this in 1989. They tell us he's now 40 years old. So he was in his 20s in the 70s when he opened up his restaurant. Did not look like that in the reenactment. Nope. So, and the best part is they tell us they think he's in the Dayton, Ohio area. Yeah. Okay. You ready for our update?
Yep.
Within minutes.
I love when they say that.
Within
minutes of our broadcast airing.
Broadcasting.
Yeah.
Multiple people called, and he was caught in not Dayton, Ohio.
Nope.
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
living with his wife of 6 years and his 1-year-old child.
He was like living in the suburbs. He was attending college.
He was attending college, and he was
working like as an accountant.
Yeah, he was working as an accountant.
Like the most boring life. I mean, like you want to blend into suburbia. You're in Scottsdale, Arizona. You're married. You got a 1-year-old. You're taking some classes at the local university, and you work as an accountant.
Yeah. Do you think his wife knew?
So I did a little bit of research. I don't know if she knew, but she stayed with him. They stayed married.
She had to have known then.
So that's that to me was like the indicator that maybe, yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
With that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it would be funny if she didn't, and someone shows up like, hey, yeah, this guy, he was convicted of murder. He's already served almost 2 years.
Can you imagine of all the things that you expect maybe to happen in your marriage, infidelity, or, a million other like things that can go wrong, finding out that the man that you're married to is actually has ran away from prison and is also supposed to be serving a life sentence because he's been convicted of murder.
Yeah.
If you ever trust anybody ever again. Yeah.
So he's
a few things.
I didn't read that he had passed away yet. He's serving in Dooley State Prison in Georgia.
He's not there anymore. He's out on parole.
No way.
Yep.
I did not see that.
Yes. So
I missed that.
The other guy.
How did he got sentenced to life?
I am well aware, Benjamin. So the other guy was actually passed away. He was also paroled.
Really?
Yes. Both men ended up becoming paroled, and the gunman was
Elmo
passed away, I believe, in like 2007. I think the other guy had since passed away, but they were both paroled on their life sentences. Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And that's the thing that's where I read that his wife had stayed with him. Like she was still married to him.
Yeah. You hired someone.
It wasn't also that you were convicted of murder, but you then fled prison.
We fled twice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
So, yeah.
But he's an idiot.
Oh, so that's what I was going to bring up. He had handwritten notes.
Oh, how did I miss that? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, let me go back.
But that's what I was saying.
I even wrote it down.
Yeah. He had made a promise. Him and Elmo had a commitment to each other, like a gentleman's commitment.
So when he got arrested for the original murder, he had a note on him, and they read it had multiple notes, but they read one of the quotes from the notes, and it said, "See, Elmo, offer to him is, if worse comes to worse, to take whole rap and say robbery was motive." Mm-hmm. I said I would take care of his wife and kids.
Okay. Do you think that within the 4-hour window, you should have gotten rid of that? Or was he keeping that like some IOU? Like, I have proof that actually I'm not supposed to get in trouble for this. Elmo's supposed to take the rap. What was the plan with that? That's not a kept receipt to get you out of jail free card.
I just love, he wrote a note to himself. Hey, man, don't forget. Don't forget, in case you get busy, don't forget to see Elmo about that murder that you hired him to do, and make sure he takes the whole rep. Do you seriously had to write that down?
How busy
to
was
remind
your life?
yourself? Yeah. How busy? How is the contract murder not on the front of your mind 24/7?
And then also, you kept to the note, dude. You were brought in for questioning and not held. I think at that moment you burn everything.
Well, why are you writing these notes? This is weeks. Technically,
I mean, here's the thing. I love stupid criminals because they end up getting caught.
Anyways, man, I really miss that. How I did not. I had that in my notes too. Yeah, he had that note on him when he got arrested. It was the best. That guy, not the brightest criminal.
It's sad because I wonder what the victim could have done with his life. The fact is that he started out by just running a restaurant. And then was able to, within a few years, the
Clearly, he was
profit margin on restaurants is not crazy.
Clearly, he was a very smart businessman and restaurant owner.
Yeah. And it seems like that area was being renovated and kind of had some history and some culture and was a great place for people to tour, bring in tourists and different things to the community. It would have been interesting what more he could have done if he had not had his life taken from him.
Yeah, I thought of that too. I was like, man, this guy, because he was good at what he did.
Yeah. Because
you literally had two people in the same location. One was successful and one was not. And that just goes to show it's not about location. It's literally about how you run your business.
He was successful because of his hard work.
And so successful that within a few years he was able to buy the whole building his restaurant was in.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. Buckle up.
Oh man, this is a good one too.
Okay. This I'll give you guys the name. We'll come back to the name in a minute. I don't want to give anything away. But I'm going to take us back to 1973. You and I were not alive yet.
No.
But the United States was facing an oil crisis. I tried to do some research on the oil crisis of 1973, and it seems like a very complex, complicated issue. But, and this is not a history podcast, so thankfully I don't have to give you a bunch of information other than the fact that gas prices went through the roof. There was people mad and fighting with each other, so people were throwing tantrums and refusing to sell oil and yada, yada, yada.
That reminds me of that joke from Brian Regan where he talks about the friend. He goes, that he's trying to explain to him the housing crisis.
Yeah.
He's like, so the government backs the loans.
Yeah.
Take this and wrap them all up. It was funny.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably explain the housing crisis
No.
But I don't need to at this moment. But the oil crisis was a problem. Needless to say, the American people were having to wait hours in line to get gas. Gas stations were running out of gas. I even think at one point you had to have to come at a certain day, or it was crazy, right? And unfortunately, when it comes to things like that, as consumers, we're at the hands and the mercy of international trade and foreign relations and big oil companies and offshore drilling and all of the drama that comes around that. So every time you see any sort of gas and fuel issue, the demand for economical cars rises. And we always have someone coming forward with a new idea. In our time, we've seen the hybrid car come out, and Elon Musk has the Tesla. So I remember at 9/11, there was a big concern that gas prices were going to get crazy and everything like that. And things went up. And there was talk about how we could have cars that ran on water and all of this stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
It seems like a very complicated issue that not a lot of people have been able to solve. Because I think at the end of the day, cars running on fuel is the best ability that we have at this time. However, in 1973, enter the Dale. Let me tell you about the Dale.
Oh, yeah. Please tell us about the
Dale.
Dale.
Okay? You can get 60...
Dale's a car.
Yeah, don't...
Well,
I'm getting to it, Turner.
Okay. All right.
Calm yourself. 60 miles per gallon.
Who doesn't want that?
Yeah. The car, don't worry, it's under $2,000. It's also made of aerospace plastic that's going to be able to withstand impact against a brick wall at 50 miles an hour with zero damage. Also impossible to tip over. Okay?
Well, Sierra, why would you be worried about it being tipped over?
I don't know. Why would you? Oh, that's right. Because it has 3 wheels. You heard that. So as I'm watching this on Unsolved Mysteries, I am intrigued. I am like, yeah, a car with 60 miles per gallon. Okay, check. Sign me up. Because here's the thing. Teslas are great. If you want to not have to pay for gas and just be able to charge your car and run on electricity, I love that. But the biggest dilemma in all of these cars, hybrids and everything, is they're insanely expensive. So,
Okay,
I did not do adjusted for inflation.
because I'm going to guess $2,000
Yeah.
back then. You're
I'll
probably
say
looking.
the price of cars to own a car nowadays is wild, even comparatively to
Yes.
inflation.
Yeah. I'm going to guess it's comparable to about $10,000 today.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Where could you buy a brand new car, especially a brand new designed, highly engineered, fuel-efficient car
literally
for
said
$10,000?
Impossible to tip over.
It's also impossible. And you can slam against a brick wall.
At 50 miles an hour.
0 problems.
And not have any
And it's made with
problems.
plastic. But it's
aerodynamic.
aerospace technology.
plastic, yeah.
What year was this again? Let me see my notes.
1975.
1975. All right, I got my inflation calculator here. 1975. And we're at $2,000.
Yeah.
$11,700.
I was only off by $1,700.
I would love to know where you could buy a brand new car for that price.
I don't know.
But okay.
We can buy one from this company.
Well, I was here for it. I was excited.
All right.
Who do I send my money to?
I got a name for you.
Yeah. So this revolutionary design, okay, was all being built by a company that was renting 3 large aircraft carriers, hangars, where they were going to soon start production.
Okay.
Okay. And before we meet the founder of this, we're going to introduce a character named Frank. Okay?
I'm excited
Frank's
for Frank.
lower third says, Dale Dealer, comma, sales. Okay.
All right.
So now we've got a salesperson here. He's slinging these cars to dealers, to other people, offering franchises. He's on the ground level. He praises the vehicle. He tells us that we've heard of all the gas guzzlers coming out of Detroit. R.I.P. Detroit, though, because that doesn't exist anymore. There's no car manufacturers in Detroit, is there? They're all gone.
Okay.
Are they? Wasn't that the big problem with Detroit, is that all the car manufacturers left and Detroit just like fell apart after that?
I feel like Ford and GM are still there.
Oh.
A lot of their manufacturing is done elsewhere.
Nowhere to the amount that there was in the 70s, though. Correct? Okay.
No.
So having a car that could get 60 miles per gallon and zip around the city was what he would call ideal.
All right.
Okay? We, at this point, meet founder of this remarkable idea is none other than a forceful, powerful woman named Liz Carmichael. She said that she saw herself as a cross between Henry Ford and Howard Hughes. I know who Henry Ford is. Howard Hughes, First, I thought it was the Playboy guy.
Hugh Hefner?
That's Hugh Hefner.
Oh,
And
dear.
I was like, okay, that's a really interesting take on yourself. But quickly realized that that was a different. So, do you know who Howard Hughes is?
I didn't, but I looked him up.
Okay.
I actually did know who he was.
Okay. I mean, I know that name, but I don't know what he's infamous for.
He's it says American aerospace engineer.
Okay.
And business
Well, so
guy.
yeah,
So
smart business guy.
clearly a revolution.
Yeah.
What she means, she's a revolutionary because
Yes.
Henry Ford he
I
revolutionized.
mean, I
the
guess
car
same
industry.
could be said for Hugh Hefner, but
Oh,
that would be
dear.
an interesting combination. Henry Ford and Hugh Hefner.
Okay, let's stop. Let's stop going into it. Let's leave that guy in the dirt in the past.
I'm not a fan. I don't like him. I think he's a disgusting, dirty old man. But when they said that, that's the first thought. The combination of those two went to my mind. I was like, that's a wild combination.
That's an interesting two names to bring together.
Yeah, because she used these terms to describe herself.
Yeah, of
but
course.
Howard Hughes, different person. So
Here's the thing. Hugh, not
Hefner.
Hughes, Hugh Hefner.
yeah,
Two different names.
I understand.
It's not even Howard Hughes.
You don't see the correlation between the
No,
two?
I don't. All right, move
A
on.
Los Angeles businesswoman. She claimed that she was a farmer's daughter. I think she got that from a country song. A widow of a NASA engineer and graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. And she is the founder of 20th Century Motor Car Corporation. Okay?
All right.
Next talking head, Bill Hall, lower third, a senior investigator officer with the DMV. That's your first indicator that this story is going to take a turn from the sales pitch we got earlier about our car. Said, and I took some of the words that he said about her. She was very positive and had a very commanding presence, a very powerful appearing person. That's what Bill tells us about her. The next guy is our enthusiastic Gary.
He was really excited about this.
His lower third says designer.
Okay.
Okay, with this company.
He's a designer for the Dale.
Yes. We don't get any of his credentials.
No.
No. He said, and I quote,
Oh, I wrote it down too.
a big woman. A massive woman. But that was part of her appeal. She wanted to be a man. She wanted to wear men's pants. She acted like a man.
Stop.
You guys, he is yelling this at the camera.
He literally yells, massive woman.
And we're going to go to find out
listen.
that she's over 6 feet tall.
Listen, I'm almost 40, okay? Mm-hmm. Let me share something with you I've learned in my life.
Piece of wisdom.
It's never a compliment to call a woman massive.
No, no. But, yeah. Yeah, you guys, if you don't do anything, just watch Gary's interview, because it's awesome.
Oh, golly.
Okay, so
I'm
Liz goes on
Let's
to
get going.
achieve celebrity style status. You guys, she's able to raise investments and pre-sales for the Dale over $3 million.
Well, that's got to be at least $12 million in today's.
Yeah, let me see here.
That's crazy.
$17 million.
Wow, I was way off. Wow. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, and this is just pre-sales. No one even has the car.
Yeah, we see a picture of it. She's campaigning, and we see an outside picture of the aircraft hangars. That's literally what we're going off of.
Yeah.
Okay? So she is aired on Johnny Carson, right?
Well, she
She's
went to Johnny
interviewed
Carson,
on The Tonight Show.
I'd like to see that.
She was also interviewed by Newsweekly and People Magazine. These are huge publications.
Okay, so, sorry, I'm going to get off track here.
Yeah.
One Christmas when I was a teenager, my parents, again, We talked about this. Remember when all of a sudden we realized we could put all old stuff on DVDs?
Yeah.
And it was a mad rush for everything.
Yeah.
And my parents were Murder, She Wrote, Columbo, all that.
Yes.
No joke. They got a massive collection of Johnny Carson.
Mm.
And they would watch old Johnny Carson for hours.
I can't
on
even
end.
imagine your parents ever originally even staying up that late to watch Johnny Carson.
I don't think they did. I think they just got the DVDs later in life to watch it.
So that, yeah.
And
that's
because
so
they'd
funny.
never seen it, it was new to them, you know?
Yeah.
All
Can
right.
you imagine,
No.
like, just sitting around watching, like, Jay Leno on DVD?
No,
No.
that sounds awful.
I know.
Well, here's the thing about the Tonight Show. The whole point of it is that you're watching it because they're talking about stuff going on right then and
Right
there.
there and there, yeah.
Anyways, keep going. I didn't
So,
mean to
but I mean, the fact is that she's interviewed and recognized by major outlets that you would assume have some fact checking or some sourcing of some sort. Okay?
you would assume.
You would think. We like to make that assumption a lot, it seems like, with the media. So she even there was a political cartoon about her, making her as a character staring down in like high heels, Detroit automotive like tycoons.
Sounds
So
about
right, she was like, and the big thing that they wanted to was like, women were finally making their way in this sort of environment.
in this industry.
Yeah, not even just in the workplace, but they were sitting at the men's table in the automotive industry. Okay? In 1974, investigators from the California began to examine Carmichael and her company. She was originally accused of selling both dealer franchises and cars that did not yet exist. The California DMV discovered that the company did not have a state permit to manufacture cars, and there was no evidence that the car was being manufactured.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. So she's going around telling all these people, and the state's like, you haven't even filed the paperwork to do this, but yet you're selling cars and taking money.
They're like, no one even knows your business exists.
Yeah. So in May 1975, Liz is actually indicted for grand theft and fraud, and she went on to be found guilty of 34 counts. The whole deal turned out to be a sham.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's crazy.
So, where's the mystery? We're going to get into it. 1973, Liz is living in Los Angeles with her 5 children and her degree in mechanical engineering. She forms the company, 20th Century Motor, in 1974. She meets with investors and the press, informing them that they had leased airplane hangars and they're going to start the production of the car. Almost immediately, the DMV starts their investigation, inquiring into the research and the development lab. They go to the lab just offhandedly and appear that everyone was working and looking busy, but the investigator said that they actually saw no evidence of anyone working on a design for a vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay? Furthermore, investigator Bill went to look at the hangars that were being used for manufacturing space.
That they were supposed to be developing the car.
Mm-hmm. They're completely empty.
Yeah.
Nothing is there. He slides open the doors and nothing. Not only that, he finds out that they'd only paid for a one month lease. And that the lease had like expired. It was over.
You say they only did it for 1 month.
They weren't even renting them at that point anymore.
No.
Yeah. So Liz kind of gets wind of this and tells everybody, hey, you know what? I'm thinking California is not the place for manufacturing anymore. We should go to Dallas.
We should go to Texas.
Yeah, let's just go over to Texas. So she skedaddles town. However, charges still get filed and the indictment goes out. Investigators at this point, no joke, return to the lab with a search warrant. So now they can like get hands-on with things. And Bill does. Bill's able to investigate the car because there is a car.
There's a prototype.
Yeah. The car, the very first thing that was problematic, there was no engine inside of it.
That's why I'd say, technically, you can go as many miles as you want on a gallon of gas. You can go as far as your little feet.
Yeah,
Fred Flintstone feet
Fred
will
Flintstone
take you.
this thing. 2x4s were used to hold up the back wheel.
The impossible back wheel to tip.
Yes, is built out of 2x4s. This looked like a project someone did in Boy Scouts.
And here's the thing. They're showing us pictures. He takes pictures of this. So we are seeing the pictures that he took for his investigation.
Yep. The foot accelerator was not even attached to the floor. There's
a
laying
picture
there.
of him
he picks
holding
it up.
it off the floorboard.
The windows and the doors are all made of plastic.
Yeah.
And the door hinges were regular hinges you could buy at any Home Depot.
Home Depot.
Any hardware store.
Yeah. Probably, I don't think Home Depot is around them, but whatever hardware store you want.
This, no joke, looks like a craft project.
That's what I thought. It looks like
this looks like a bunch of kids got together. The Little Rascals did a better job building a car in the movie than this.
It'd be a super fun project to do as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, except
for then getting $17 million out of people, or I guess $3 million back then.
Yeah, and telling people that it was ready to roll off the lot any day now. So back in Dallas, local police officers go to Liz Carmichael's house to arrest her, to bring her in, right? This indictment is out now. Yeah. They find the home empty. Not empty of things, but empty of people. And it appears that Liz and her 5 children booked it real quick out of there. What the police did happen to find was wigs and other things that led them to believe Liz was not who she appeared to be.
What?
9 weeks later, Liz is discovered living in Miami. She's working for a dating service under the name Susan. They also learned...
What's a dating service?
That was a great question. I don't... A dating service.
What kind of dating service are you working for in Florida?
I didn't know you could get paid to go on dates with people. To the point where it's like a legitimate real business in the 70s. So... I don't know. You make from that what you will.
Oh, I got a few ideas.
Yeah. So they also learn at this moment that she also had another identity. The reenactment actor is looking in the mirror, taking off her earrings and taking off her makeup for the day. She just got done at a long day at the office of the dating service she's worked at. She's exhausted. And she pulls off her wig, and we find out that Carmichael is actually a man.
A massive man.
Yes. His name is Jerry Michael. Okay?
Yeah, he sure is.
So I will say, we find out that this person has started, several years ago, had started taking hormones to undergo a full change of identity. This person was striving to live their life as a female. And I will be honest with you, I don't know, and it's hard to tell if this person was doing this because they wanted to or because we find out that they had actually skipped prison.
Yeah. This guy is wanted on federal charges.
This man is wanted on federal charges. So I don't know if this was done for reasons that they wanted to change their identity because this is the body they identified with, or if it was because they did not want to get captured and brought in on federal charges.
Did you hear what those federal charges were?
No, what were they? Oh, counterfeiting. Oh,
not her and him and his wife at the time.
Yeah.
Were printing bills. They were literally printing money.
They were printing. They said, we have a money tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's not small charges.
No. Yeah. So again, We never find out who these children belong to. I
No.
don't know if they were from his first marriage. And again, so all jokes aside, I have a feeling that this person was changing their gender to evade police, not because it was a lifestyle that they were wanting to embark on.
And
Okay.
it was working.
So April
I feel
12th.
bad for any of the people in the dating service.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. April 12th, 1975, Carmichael was arrested, extradited back to Los Angeles, and put on trial. During the entire trial, she maintains that the Dale was actually a very real car and could be released if we wouldn't stop wasting her time with this funny business of getting dragged into court every
of
day.
following the law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that always gets in the way.
Yeah.
That whole like not breaking
Yeah,
the
she
law.
like went on the stand and was like, if it wasn't for this, the car would actually already be on the streets.
Yeah.
So January 24th, 1977, she's convicted of conspiracy, grand theft, fraud, and counterfeiting. She's released on a $50,000 bail that was paid for by a TV company that she promised the rights to her story to.
Yeah.
Okay? So for 4 years, she's out on bail appealing her case, appealing her conviction. Finally, in 1980, she failed to show up to court for sentencing. She and her 5 children have not been seen in almost a decade. And here's our mystery. We've got another runaway.
Another runaway.
Yep. So you ready for your update?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Captured. Within minutes
Within minutes
of this airing, an interviewer called, and Carmichael was finally arrested on April 19th, 1989, 2 weeks after the broadcast. At the time, she was living with one of her children in Dale, Texas. Did you get
I
that?
didn't even catch that. And I think he even said it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's
She was
crazy.
working as a flower vendor going by the name Catherine. Interestingly, she was located in the same town as the name of her car. On April 26th, Carmichael was returned to California, where the judge gave her a 1 to 10 year sentence. She only
That's a
served 2
big
years in prison.
window.
Yeah,
1 to 10 years?
anywhere in between. But she served 2 and was out. She did pass away of cancer in 2004. The prototype of the Dale is a part of the permanent collection of the Peterson Automobile Museum in Los Angeles, California. I also found out as I was writing the script, there is an HBO 4-part documentary series on this. Yeah.
And I did not want to watch it.
I think I'm going to.
Yeah.
I put it on my saved thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw
So there you go.
Here's the crazy part. I don't ever know if she went to trial or he.
Yeah. On the
counterfeiting.
original counterfeiting. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
So, all right. All right. Story number 3 about Mr. Tim McClare. Tim McClare.
Tim McClare.
Okay. Which this story is also
Yeah, this is weird.
weird. Yeah.
All right. So Robert Stack, we'll start out. He shows us the call center. They got a whole
They got a
setup
whole
there.
setup there. Yeah.
They said they got an interesting one where they actually got called from a guy who's being accused of murder, and he's innocent. And he wanted the story featured to kind of prove his innocence and
But I would say,
to-
what was the first reason why he wants this story told?
to prove his innocence.
Yeah. Not to find out.
The murder of his mom.
Yeah. But he thinks that there's someone out there that can identify him to give him an alibi.
Yeah.
That's nuts to me.
I know. So we find out Tim McClure is 38 years old at the time of this murder. And his mother, Terry, Tim and Terry, you got to really know the name.
Mm-hmm.
or
Terry
anything.
is the mother.
Yeah, Terry's the mother, and she was 62 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They tell us Tim and Terry were close. Tim lived with his mom off and on through his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they said at first he still lived with her, but he didn't. He does clarify.
Yeah.
He's just living with her throughout his 20s. He moves away. This is in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
And then he calls his mom and tells her, hey, I'm getting married. And this is in January of 1983. He gets married. His mom is there. They have this great celebration. Clearly, this family has a gambling problem.
Yes.
And everyone in that family should work on that. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he gets married on January 14th. And it's a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's important to know.
It is.
It's on a Friday, January 14th, 1983. Tim gets married to his bride. We never find out her name. And this is in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Okay?
This entire family's thing, everything revolves around casinos. And gambling. Yeah.
So to celebrate their marriage, after the wedding, they all go to the casino to celebrate.
Yeah.
And they're gambling all evening.
Mm-hmm.
Tim tells us that around 10 o'clock that night, he walks his mom out to her car. Mm-hmm. And that she was going to drive home to Reno that night.
Which is what, like an hour?
They said it was about an hour's drive.
Okay.
Okay, that's not too crazy. But they're going to continue partying. He walks her out. She leaves, and he says to his mom, we'll stop by tomorrow.
I'm on my honeymoon. I'll come to your house tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, mom leaves. He goes back in. Boom. The next day.
Well, he goes back in.
Yeah, they tell that later.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell it now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I can't remember exactly when it comes up, but we
comes
find
up
out
during his alibi and.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That. So the next day, him and his wife, they sit around. It's on Saturday, around 6 o'clock at night. They stop by his mom's house. Mm-hmm. And we're getting interviewed with Tim here. The whole time.
Tim is He's main character of this story.
Yeah. He's telling the story. And he goes up and her paper is still there. And he tells us how concerned. He just knew
immediate.
It's just so weird that she should be home. Why is she not home? She goes in the house. She's not there. He can't find her. He's just so worried. So he starts calling around friends. No one's seen her.
Yeah.
So he calls the police and files a missing persons report. Mm-hmm. Okay. Monday, January 17th. Terry's car is found in the parking lot of a casino in Carson City. Mm-hmm. Doors are locked. Keys are in the ignition.
In Carson City is approximately like a halfway point. It's about 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Keys are in the ignition. Car's locked. And Terry, the mother, is in the passenger seat, shot twice in the head.
With a pillow behind her head.
That's how it shows it in the reenactment.
I looked it up. It is. That's how she was actually found. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So they find that. And now that they've got a murder on their hands.
Yeah.
So the Carson City police start investigating the murder. And very quickly, Tim becomes a suspect to the police.
Yeah.
You want to tell us why he's a suspect to the police?
So the very next day, the police begin looking at Tim as a suspect in Terry's murder. Circumstantial evidence points at him as being responsible for her death. From the very beginning, authorities considered Tim as a suspect. When questioned, he told police, and this is, I guess, the point I was bringing up earlier, after saying goodbye to his mom at 10, he returns into the casino. Mind you, this is his honeymoon.
He just got married.
I
know, I was thinking the same thing.
And his new wife had gone off gambling with her parents. So he decides to go gamble alone for approximately 2 hours. I don't know
All by
what
himself.
y'all do on your honeymoons, but
On your wedding day?
yeah, on your actual wedding night, this is what you chosen to do. Is your wife's deciding to hang out with her parents, and you go off by yourself for
And
a
you
couple
say,
of hours?
I don't want to find my wife right now.
Mm-mm.
I want to hang out by myself and
Yeah.
gamble by myself.
So after about 2 hours, he reconnects with her, and they go out dancing until about 6 in the morning. Authorities, however, have not been able to substantiate their whereabouts for that night. They're also not able to tell the police officers
where they were,
where they went, what casinos, what dance clubs, nothing. They can't give them a name.
No, they can't tell them where they were.
Ben, where did we go out last night?
Yeah.
Like, we went to the Maverick and went dancing. It's a country bar here. Like,
yeah, I know.
It's not lost on anybody where you went. Even if you were so heavily intoxicated from partying in Reno, you had to get there somehow.
Lake Tahoe.
Oh, sorry, Lake Tahoe. And I don't know how many dance clubs are in Lake Tahoe at the time. I didn't look that up, but I cannot imagine it would be like we were at a place that had this tropical fish theme or give them something, but they can give them nothing.
Well, the police officer says, we tried.
Yeah, he said they
to
tried.
Find the place where they went. And we find out Tim's 6'5".
Yeah. He
is a
and
very
he cut his hair
distinct-
before this interview.
But he had long
He had a
shoulder-length hair.
major mullet.
Yeah.
And
He's a very
6'5".
Yeah, distinct individual.
And that's why he claims he's coming on Unsolved Mysteries. Is not necessarily the key factor to solve his mom's murder, but that there has to be somebody from that city that saw him that can corroborate his alibi.
Did you notice what he said during the interview? He says that the police started questioning him the next day. Mm-hmm. And he said, I started feeling like I was the victim.
Yes, he refers to himself as the victim
and
in this situation twice. Because at first I thought...
Did he missay...
was the interview cut in a weird way? Like...
Well, I thought he was trying to say, I felt like they were looking at me as the suspect.
Yeah.
Like, wait, why?
He refers to himself twice as the victim in this whole equation. And he also kept saying every time that things don't make sense, as in circumstantial evidence, instead of giving us a reason, he just uses the excuse that it's the weirdest thing.
He says this multiple times. I just couldn't understand why this wouldn't, like, I just couldn't understand
I just couldn't understand. He doesn't give us an answer.
No.
So Tim also tells the police that 2 days before Terry's body was discovered, he had searched the main highway between Lake Tahoe and Reno for her purse. Not her car, not her body, nothing. Her purse. Authorities found it odd that he was retracing her steps looking for an item that nobody at the time knew was missing. He, however, claimed his sister had given him the idea to go look for it. We don't get an interview from the sister.
Well, he says his sister said maybe someone had commandeered her vehicle and contents of her purse were out there.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And her purse supposedly was the only thing missing.
Yeah. And that's, again, when he's like, I can't explain it. Like,
I just don't understand
why they think that's a problem. Or why it's weird.
I just went looking for it because I was trying to find clues of where she was.
So Tim also searches the parking lots of every casino in Terry's route, looking for her car. He looked through every single lot on the route,
according
except
to him,
for one. Okay, so you spent all of this time and energy. This was your game plan to go, and he claims that the one that he missed actually ends up being the one where her body and car are found. that he had a gut feeling and that basically the Holy Ghost intervened. This was a gift from the heavens above because he couldn't have handled seeing his mother like that.
Yeah.
What? The whole point was you're trying to find her. You're out there looking for her car.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe you. Out of all of the things you decided, there was no valid reason for him not to go to that one. It wasn't like, oh, they didn't allow smoking and my mom was a smoker. Like, this makes no sense, dude. So authorities are also suspicious of a phone call Tim made to cancel his mom's credit cards. He claims that he made the call on Monday, January 17th, which was the day that her body was found. However, the credit card company claims that he called on Friday, before she even disappeared. They actually show us a copy of the memo.
Yeah.
And not only does it say that they called on Friday, but that the mom was deceased.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like he accidentally called them to see, has someone made transactions on this? My mom is missing. Has there been any activity on it? No.
Yeah. To cancel the card.
And this is one of those things. He can't explain it. He says that I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. It must be a mistake from the credit card companies.
I don't understand how they could mistake that I called on Monday and not Friday.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But you could maybe get me to if he called on Friday and she wrote Thursday.
I was thinking that too, because this is a handwritten memo note by an employee. If you're an employee at a credit card company, typically Monday through Friday is probably your gig. You know that it's Friday.
Everyone knows it's Friday.
You're not mistaking a Friday for a Monday.
Because you also know Monday.
We all know Monday.
Because your mood is very different on Monday than Friday.
Yeah. And again, if he had called on Monday or Wednesday and they had written it down as I could see this midweek sort of thing.
I agree.
But a Friday to a Monday, I ain't buying that. Mm-hmm. 6 months before Terry murdered, she also took out a $10,000 life insurance policy. So I find out, they don't tell us, there was 6 or 7 siblings.
Oh, really?
Yes. And there are many family members that comment that Tim was oddly, uncomfortably close to his mother. This relationship seemed to be a little bit dependent, on this.
I kind of got that.
Yeah.
The way he talked.
Tim and one other sister are the only ones named as the co-beneficiaries on the life insurance policy. Again, Tim says to us, he doesn't understand why his mom did this. He didn't ask her to. He didn't tell her to.
I just don't understand.
He don't understand. He doesn't understand why she has this. Yeah. And that at the end of the day, he has to split it with his sister, so he's only getting $5,000. Yeah. So it's not worth his time or energy. And I think for today, you're looking at close to 12 to 14 or something like that.
That's a good chunk of change.
Yeah, especially if you might have a gambling problem.
Yeah, especially if you spend all your time in the casinos.
Yeah. So February 14th, 1 month after the murder, Tim and his wife agreed to take a polygraph test. Take this with a grain of salt because you know how we feel about polygraph tests. Both indicated deception, which it baffles Tim. He doesn't understand
I just don't understand.
The question, though, that his wife only failed one question.
So she passes the test, but one question.
Do you know who killed Terry? He also claims that he doesn't understand how she got that one question wrong. It doesn't make any sense to him. He thinks that his mom might have been robbed and murdered by a hitchhiker. According to him only, he tells police that she was known for picking up hitchhikers. I couldn't find that anyone else in the family said this about her. Okay. Are you guys ready for your update?
Oh, I'm ready.
I know. So this is still unsolved to this day. In September 1992, though, Tim was arrested for Terry's murder. After the broadcast, several tips came in.
They reinvigorated
that pointed at Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because this has never been like fully, we don't have access, obviously, to a lot of the stuff that the police have because this didn't go to trial, so we don't know what the evidence is.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, however, and this is a weird thing. I couldn't get a lot of information on this. In 1993, the Nevada DA ultimately decided to not prosecute him. In April, the judge dismissed the case with prejudice because of problems with the evidence. And at this point, Tim's estranged wife refused to testify in the case. This ruling means that he can never again be arrested in this case.
Yeah.
That is a
weird
jeopardy loophole. How is it double jeopardy? Because you were never convicted.
I don't know. I don't understand this.
Have you ever heard of this happening before?
No.
No.
It was weird. So that same podcast, so we've talked about a few times.
Yes, The Trail with Cole does a great one on this.
And I had read something that he had done. Mm-hmm. And he says, he kind of talks about that it is uncommon for something to get dismissed on prejudice. And the only thing he offers, but this is a shot in the dark, so we don't know, is that there was maybe a big screw up on the investigation, either the DA or the police side, to the point where it was pretty much to the point, listen, we can now never bring this forth because something got screwed up so
badly
that it'll ruin the case anytime it comes forward against this individual. That was what he had said.
Yeah.
And that's a guess. We don't know. And it's unfortunate because we'll never know because it never went to trial.
Yeah. So Terry's murder remains unsolved, although Tim technically remains the prime suspect. Her granddaughter has commented on that much of the remaining relatives of the family believe that he killed his mother.
On his wedding day.
Yeah. They also believe that the ex-wife knows what happened, but literally refuses to talk to anybody. Here's the thing. If she didn't know anything, why wouldn't she say that? But instead, she's just stayed dead silent about it.
I don't know. It was a weird case.
It was a weird case.
And they put it and you get to hear, and I will say that, listening to him, the way he talks, the way he never actually explains or clarifies anything. Because we do get to hear from a detective from Carson City, and he's like, yeah, none of this stuff added up.
He also, doesn't show a lot of emotion, doesn't really even express a lot of remorse, except that how this has negatively impacted him. And that he was supposed to take care of his mom. He's supposed to be the savior and the hero in the story, and now he can't be.
Yeah. Well, he literally says at the end. So they end it by saying Tim wanted to come forth to tell his story because he wants someone to substantiate his alibi for the night. Not that, hey, my mom was found here.
And I want to get this out of the way so that they can focus on the right person. And I'm willing to comply and do whatever needs to be. And this is one more step. If we can just... But yeah, I can't even remember the name of the club I was at or the casino. And I know it was the 70s, but I cannot imagine that. I mean, casinos, from my knowledge, have some of the most high-tech, even at that time, security in place.
And just every time he would say that, I just don't understand. I don't understand why they would consider me a suspect.
I don't understand why the dates are wrong. I don't understand why they're mad that I don't know the name of the club I was at. I don't understand why I failed the polygraph test.
I would call the credit card company on a Friday, even though the notes from a non-partial individual.
Yeah, this person has nothing to gain or
wrote
lose.
Friday.
Yeah.
He can't explain anything, and he's baffled by all of
he
it.
He comes off as very self-absorbed. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but he definitely seems to exhibit a little bit of narcissistic traits.
It was interesting, and you look at him like, dude, I thought you wanted to come clear your name.
But you didn't give us anything.
But you couldn't tell us where you were.
Mm-mm.
And I did look. He made a big deal about them investigating him. Dude, you were the last one to see her alive.
Yeah. And then you disappeared for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You said that you took your mom to her car and then did not hook back up with your wife for 2 hours. Your mom was found 30 minutes away.
Your whereabouts, you were the last one to see her alive. Mm-hmm. And your whereabouts for the entire evening can't be.
Yeah, for almost 24 hours cannot be substantiated, even to the point where you remembered where you got breakfast that day or the last club you went to or anything. You said you were out partying till 6 in the morning.
Can you imagine partying till 6 in the morning?
No.
Right, let's just put this. Sierra and I went out last night. We'd like to go country dancing.
Yeah.
It's
a fun little hobby that we have.
We've picked up in the last, 2 years, year and a half?
Yeah.
Something like that. We've taken dance lessons.
It's such a fun thing to do as a couple.
So we usually go out till, I say 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
And then come home. Last night, there was a live band.
Oh, the band was so good
really
last
good.
night. The crowd was awesome.
Yeah.
It was an older crowd.
And there was people our age
and older. I actually felt young. I felt young there.
So it was fun. There wasn't craziness
going on. There was legit
going
cowboy and cowgirls there. Like, it was awesome.
Yes. It was a lot of fun. So we ended up being out till midnight. Okay. And just explain to you, that is very late for us. By the time we got home and were in bed, it was almost 1 a.m. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the last time I saw 1 a.m. on my phone unless I was waking up to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't. And let's just say,
it's been a rough day.
We've been dragging all day.
Yeah.
We had a hard time getting out of bed.
There's naps and caffeine.
So if someone told me, because he's, at this time, Terry's 38 years old. He's almost our age.
Yeah.
If you asked me to stay out till 6 a.m., I would say you're out of
And not just
mind.
Staying up goofing, giggling in your hotel room or something. I don't know.
Partying, dancing.
Till 6 in the morning?
I think I just said dancing.
Dancing. Yeah, no thanks. Okay, so, I mean, ultimately, to me, Tim still has never to this day, there's nothing to rule this guy out.
But it doesn't matter. He can never
be. Yeah, and
the case is, it's never going to be solved.
Which is terrible. I hate that.
This lady shot twice in the head. Mm-hmm. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, and I mean, I could make assumptions. We don't know actually if he had a gambling problem, but there was a lot of gambling featured in this, and it didn't seem like, I tried to look to see, but I think because he came to Unsolved Mysteries and not the other way around, and the police spoke, but they didn't give us any information. What kind of, was he in debt? Did he, like, nothing?
Yeah, the police kept a lot of stuff close to the chest.
So, all right, guys, that is our recap of Season 1, Episode 22 of Unsolved Mysteries. It's time for my favorite pluggy plug time. So, plug request number 1, please get on and leave us a 5-star review with sprinkles and glitter and magic.
I already did.
Did you? You haven't done one.
Of course I did.
Did you really?
Well, I didn't leave a review, but I gave us a 5-star.
That's what I'm asking people to do.
I did 5 stars.
So you didn't. You rated. You didn't review. Okay, don't be like Ben.
Do you want me to review? And then people, when they look at our reviews, they'll see one from Ben, and they'll be like, oh, I wonder if that's the guy. Oh, he's trying to review his own show.
Yeah. I would actually love if you did that. I'd actually love for you to start it as the headline being, as the podcast co-host, and then review yourself. And then follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Unsolved Couple Pod. If you guys have any questions or anything, you can reach out to me on Instagram via DM, or you can send us an email at unsolvedcouplepodcast@gmail.com. And all of the things. We would appreciate it. We are available on all streaming services, and be looking for us, if not already happening. I did commit. I bought a Bluetooth microphone for my phone.
Yeah, you did.
I know. This is something that I have been dragging my feet on, and I've talked to several other very well-known podcasters, and they have told me multiple times that to get the ball rolling more down the hill, I need to be more present on social media, doing things on YouTube and TikTok. If TikTok by the time we're talking, TikTok could be gone.
It might be gone.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And so be on the lookout for that. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. It seems like a lot of the people recommended just doing what's coming up on this week's episode. Quick little shorts like that. I don't know. We'll see. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, just send them my way because I'm at a loss. Okay, Ben. In honor of turning 40, you're so old.
You're only a month behind me. You're a month behind me.
Here's your question. Okay?
Okay.
Wait. I think I just lost it. Oh, I got it back again. I remembered. I thought of this earlier.
40 brain.
I know. No, I am not 40.
You're 1 month behind me. Okay, do you want to hear a funny story about
Yes,
about
but now I'm going to feel like I'm going to forget my question again.
Okay, go.
I lost it. Okay, tell us your story.
Okay. I was just thinking of this funny story.
Wait, I remembered.
All right, never mind.
Okay.
I don't have a funny story.
Okay. Is there something that you do as a 40-year-old now that either child Ben or teenage Ben would be sorely disappointed in you for doing, and or just super excited and like proud that you made it where you have been? Does that make sense?
I think there's two conflicting questions there.
I know. I want both sides of the coin.
Give me the question again.
Okay.
I need you to repeat
If
the question.
teenage Ben fast forwarded to 40-year-old Ben, is there something that you do in your life or that you even potentially don't do that you'd be like, man, what a loser. That's so lame.
Probably. Well, absolutely, 100%. But there's a lot in my life I'm super proud of.
Well, this
very
is just
happily
lighthearted
married.
and fun. But yeah. And then I guess,
I
is there
love
something that being
a
teenage
dad.
Ben would also come back and be like, man, wait, that's awesome. I never thought we'd get here. Like,
So, very happily married. Love my children. Greatest thing in my life. Mm-hmm. But when I was a teenager, sharing my life is extremely difficult. Okay, music was everything to me.
yeah.
All right. I
Yeah,
had
Ben was
long hair.
Yeah.
I played drums in a band. Mm-hmm. And that was
A garage band, like legit.
yes,
Yeah.
a legit garage band.
Mm-hmm.
Played a few concerts, not a lot. Not concerts, shows with
Sold out arenas.
No. Even recorded.
Yeah, you guys recorded a CD.
Yep.
Yeah, or an
So-
album. Yeah.
Okay, so music was everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I listened to punk rock stuff. Terrible. And to this day, my taste, if my 16-year-old self saw what I listened to now, holy smokes.
You'd roast yourself. Huh?
Oh, yeah. I would just think just terrible,
Yeah.
awful. Just, yeah. It would be pretty bad.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because now I'm a big country.
Yeah.
I've really gotten into bluegrass.
Mm-hmm.
Just the thought of that as a 16-year-old would make me want to vomit. And I actually don't care for the music I listen to.
Yeah, you've got a couple
played.
songs that you enjoy that we like on our playlist from back then, but not like you did.
No, I don't. I don't follow that
Yeah.
music. And honestly, now I'm not even the biggest music guy. I'm a podcast, books. I listen to, mostly I want that to keep me entertained than music.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter where I went or what I did. I had music on at all times.
Yeah.
And now, no.
Yeah.
It's a different drastic change.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you? Because you're going to be 40 here real soon.
So 16 or 17-year-old Sierra was here today. Same thing. Like the fact that I'm married and have children and like we have this beautiful life together, I would be like, way to go. Caveat to that is, one, I never wanted to live in a small town ever again because I grew up in one.
Or the desert.
Oh, yeah, that'd probably be my biggest disappointment. And to this day, it is still something I'm not thrilled about, living in the desert. But the biggest thing that I would probably be like, ew, would be the fact that sometimes, actually 98% of the time, the best Friday night is a true crime documentary and me giving myself a 40-minute extensive facial and a hot Epsom salt bath. That's
And
what I
staying
want to
inside.
do, and staying inside.
Not good.
No, I don't want to go outside. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I, unlike Ben, I'm much more social than Ben is. I do love going out and doing things. And as a teenager, weekend plans were everything. I wanted to be out late. I wanted to be having fun. I wanted it to be loud. I didn't care what the parking situation was. I didn't care if there was places to sit down. And now it's all of those things. If someone invites me to go somewhere, I'll drive myself because I want to be able to leave whenever I want to.
What time does it start? When does it end?
Yeah, when does it end? What's the parking like? Because that's the thing. You want me to go downtown on a Friday night? That just the parking alone is eh.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'll drive through Taco
Social
Bell.
things? No, I'm out.
Yeah. And so, yeah, teenage Sierra who let's load up in my car and drive and go do things for useless reasons and just do it for the fun of it.
Just to be gone.
Just to be gone and just to have something to do. And yeah, always with loud music and multiple people. That is not something. And here's the thing, every once in a while I want to go do something and hang out and spend time with people. And it's funny because Ben usually has to be the one to be say the safe word. I need to be done because we've been around this group of 50 people for far too long, or hundreds of people at whatever.
Well, last night the reason I went out,
Oh,
I had
yeah.
to go outside, because I had to stand there by myself and I had to close my eyes. And I had to take 2 to 3 minutes of not being around people,
Yeah.
taking deep breaths. Because it just.
And I make friends with everybody.
it was
I
too
know
much.
I know tons of regulars now at the Maverick. I'm out talking to people. People come up to our table and socialize with me, and I am always like, "Oh, and here's Ben," and he's like, "Hey." And so I do enjoy those things. Oop, bumped the mic, but yeah, that's it. So I don't know. I'd be interested to. I just think it's a fun question to think about. What would you do? Here's the thing: we have teenagers now, and I know as a teenager, you think that you are the smartest person to ever
Yeah.
exist. Your parents are idiots, and that there are things that you're never going to do as an adult. And
Well-
I would have sworn that as a teenager, I probably would have never chosen to live in tiny little suburbia ever again. And now my dream is to have
even
a
further.
farmhouse farther away from people.
Yeah. Well, I always say, as you get older, me personally, I necessarily don't get smarter, but hopefully I just get wiser.
Yeah.
And yeah, clearly the way we thought back then is, I definitely do not think the same way.
But then there's a lot of things that by the age of 40, I don't think I would have ever thought with having dyslexia and ADHD and growing up in a town of 3,000 people that I would have amounted to what we have now. And so...
You would have never thought you'd be on a podcast.
No. I never thought that. And I never thought I'd marry such a hottie.
Oh, dear. You know what you forgot to do?
What?
To start? New cities.
Oh. Well, if anyone is still listening, well, I might say that now, but it could we
people-
could have no new cities.
We quit almost 10 minutes ago. Do you think people turn it off at this point? Because they just don't care.
They don't care. It's very possible. I don't even know if we have any new cities today. I don't have any on here for today.
Today. All right.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's our episode. We will see you again next week when Ben and I recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.